G'day guys, this is BroadcastingBecause back with round 5 of this AFL Live season mode with the Fremantle Dockers, and today we take on one of the newest clubs to join the AFL, the Gold Coast Suns. Another match at home at Subiaco Oval. This is a game which we're very confident that we should be winning, particularly after coming off the back of 4 consecutive wins, looking to make it 5. Against a team which is currently second bottom of the ladder. After a series of poor performances, Greg Broughton loses his place in the side to Tendai Mzungu, who moves up from the substitute spot. Nick Lower takes his place as the reserve. Up against a Gold Coast lineup, still inexperienced, but Gary Ablett is always threatening. Now, Jay Van Berlo was impressive right throughout this game. He had quite a few highlights throughout the first quarter, particularly this one right here, as he gathers a loose ball and absolutely belts it home from a very difficult angle from about 47-46 metres out. Ballantyne there capitalising again on a loose ball, and Fremantle were well and truly away in the first quarter. We see Van Berlo there again centering the ball, unable to find his man. We had a lot of inside 50s, and I mean a lot. In fact, within the first 10 minutes of the match, we were already 25 points up against a scoreless Gold Coast who had no answers for Matthew Pavlich up forward. The AFL's leading goal scorer kicking his first of the day. After a 5-minute period of keeping us scoreless, the Gold Coast started to fight back. They got their first inside 50, which finds Josh Caddy, lines up from about 42-43 metres out with a drop punt on the impossible angle, and somehow it finds its way through the big sticks. That is unbelievable from Josh Caddy. Check it out from this angle on the replay. This tells the story of how tight that angle was and how accurate he was. An excellent effort there from the young son, and that sparked something in the Gold Coast side. Day outmarking Luke McFarlane, who probably could have done better, and he went back to slot Gold Coast's second goal just before the quarter time siren. We did have the chance to get that final goal just before the siren went after a scorching run from Anthony Morabito, but unfortunately he could only find a behind. We led the Gold Coast by 13 points at quarter time, goals to Jack Anthony, Jay Van Berlo, Ballantyne and Pavlich as well, and we needed to come out of the block strongly after fading a little bit towards the end of the first quarter. Chris Mayne takes a mark right on the 50, and somehow, running backwards in all that traffic, Matthew Pavlich takes an absolute beauty and kicks his second of the day. How about this in an effort at the other end of the field from Chris Mayne? Chases his man down. I don't know how that wasn't a free kick for holding the ball, but nevertheless, unselfish there from Captain Pav. He finds Ballantyne to kick his second of the day. To their credit, Gold Coast were actually pretty valiant in their efforts. They played a lot better than both the West Coast and Port Adelaide had in our last 2 games. They actually put up a fight for the rest of the second quarter, keeping us to a lead of just 11 points. That is until, with just under 2 minutes to go, Matt De Boer absolutely strolls through the defence, makes a mockery of all their efforts, and Matthew Pavlich strolls in to kick number 3 just before half-time. With a margin of just 17 points at half-time, I was still a bit nervous that Gold Coast were within kicking distance, so getting the first goal of the third quarter was crucial. Stephen Hill took it on his own to win the ball within a contest and finds Nat the Knife Fife, who splits the needle from a not too easy angle either. But again, the valiant Gold Coast would not say die. Josh Gilby taking a lovely mark running backwards and slots their first of the quarter in response. The Gold Coast had done really well to keep themselves right in the contest until through the third quarter. Their defence was relatively solid, as well as their midfield play. Now, if you take a look at the top right hand corner of your screen, this is where all the injury updates are displayed. First, Hayden Jolly does his hamstring. Second, Swallow does his calf in consecutive tackles. Now as Fremantle run up the other end and kick the behind, keep watching that top right hand corner, bam, there it is. Gary Ablett injures his calf and plays pretty much no part in the rest of the game. That is game over for the Gold Coast. From that point on, it was pretty much our game. The Gold Coast didn't score again that quarter, and we kept on piling on the points. We really should have been a lot further in front than we actually were at three-quarter time. We did take our foot off the accelerator a little bit, but I guess I can't really complain too much because we still really did dominate them, particularly in this last little bit of the third quarter. Matthew Pavlich gets his mitts out there and takes a very nice mark just on the edge of the goal square, and he gets another goal to his name. This is probably my play of the day. This is just end-to-end stuff. We go from inside their forward 50 right up the other end, and it all culminates in Nat Fyfe belting it home from 55 metres out. How about that? That is an absolute screamer from Nathan Fyfe, and that is how we went into three-quarter time. We're up 65 points to 33, a 22-point margin at three-quarter time. Pavlich has 4, Sandilands has 10 touches as well as Mundy. Jay Van Bellows had a great game, and from there on it was our game. There was no way we were going to lose at home to the Gold Coast. Sandilands unselfishly handing it over to Matthew Pavlich, who kicked his 5th for the game. Just a super effort from him, and the Gold Coast just couldn't find that spark that had really helped them in the first and second quarter, and somehow Kepler Bradley finds Pavlich and he kicks number 6. I mean, I was close to feeling sorry for Gold Coast at this point. I mean, they were in the game until they had all those injuries. I think Josh Toy was injured at some point as well during that final quarter or the third quarter, and he didn't play much part either. So it was just one of those horror games for the Gold Coast. They did get 1 goal back here with 6 minutes to play through Day. He kicked, I believe, his 2nd goal for the day, and that brought the margin back to 43 points, but it was insurmountable. And we did, I believe we kicked 1 or 2 more goals here, but nevertheless, Chris Main runs on and kicks another goal. His tally is really racking up, and that's the way that it ended. And right on the final siren, if you saw it again, Harley Bennell injured himself. I actually do feel sorry for the Gold Coast. They've just had so many injuries, it's ridiculous. But nevertheless, we do run out 50-point winners. We get a nice achievement, 5 in a row, hot streak, very happy with that. Michael Barlow just, he took the second half to himself. He racked up 13 disposals, Sandilands with 12 as well. The Pav was 6 goals. I'm so happy with the way he's playing. He just keeps on scoring. The opposition's got no answer for him, so well done, Pav. Great game for the Dockers. Well, I've probably already given it away, guys, but Matthew Pavlich is my man of the match. He kicked 6 goals with 8 disposals. He just played so well. He really is the perfect target man to have up forward. He pretty much doesn't miss, and he picked up a couple of assists as well, so extremely happy. A true captain's game, and he's in such great form, Matthew Pavlich. Well, goal of the week this week, there weren't too many real individual efforts to really pick out, but what I did go with was this one. This is pretty much the perfect team goal. We took it from one end of the ground to the other, and it all culminated in Nat Fyfe blitzing the goal from about 55 metres out, one bounce and straight through the middle. That is an exceptional team goal. Nat Fyfe might have kicked the goal, but the whole run of play leading up to that was really sensational. Well, after 5 rounds of the AFL season, the ladder looks like this, with the Western Bulldogs and Essendon on top, still yet to be defeated. Fremantle sitting very nicely behind them in 3rd position. The Swans down there at 8th, probably surprised they haven't done quite as well so far this season. Collingwood and Port Adelaide, Richmond, Melbourne, and then right down the bottom of the ladder are the Gold Coast Suns and the still winless GWS. Well, that's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you enjoyed the match as well. Please do leave a like if you enjoyed it. It really helps out a lot. If you haven't seen some of the previous games, the previous game that we played round 4 against Port Adelaide, you can click the link on the screen there. Also, be sure to watch out for the next match, which will be against current ladder leaders, the Western Bulldogs. So that'll be a very tough match. Hopefully we'll be able to get a good result again. We're in good form, 5 in a row. Looking forward to the next match. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Cheers and stay tuned.